This is more important than college. This is more important than buying a house or getting rich. This is more important than anything. This is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with.
Hey, hey, hey. So, this is an interview that I had with my father, and we were talking about things with dating, the dating advice that he gave me, and who he is as a person. Now, I will say as a disclaimer, I know who he is, I know how he is. And one of the things that I found to be really true and apparent is when I was dating, I knew my end goal. So, I will say, take his advice as you will, but if you want to date like me, you might want to holler at me. So here we go. All right, everybody. This is my dad, Mr. John Thompson. And he is one of the reasons that I have been influenced to date with intention and that I have been married for going on 8 years. Dad, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, yeah, I am John Thompson, Toria's father. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing?
I hope they're well. All right. So I'm going to start with some of the questions that I have for our interview. Okay. So, can you
Okay.
share some insights from your past relationships and what you've learned from them?
I have learned that in the past relationships, number one thing that has to be done is that you have to be truthful. You cannot be lying, and these type of relationships are very serious relationships because they result in you either being married or you getting married and getting divorced. And I've learned that if you tell the truth in the beginning, up front of everything, you have a less chance of that happening. Is there anything else? That's all I have on that. It's truth. The truth is everything.
And I like how you said that either you are getting married or you're getting married and divorced, because most relationships, when you are dating for marriage or dating with intention, you are dating to be married. So
Yes, yes,
that's
because I,
really the end goal.
and the reason I said that was that I have had relationships where people will lie to you and then they'll laugh about it later, but it's a very serious thing when a young lady tell you a lie and you're dating her because at that point, all your trust is out the window. And so
So
my thing is, go ahead.
I was going to say, what would be your advice in situations as such when someone is portraying themselves to be something that they are not, or they have ill intentions? When you find out, what would your advice be for people that run into those kind of situations?
Well, if you find someone that's truly lying to you and they don't take this relationship serious, they're just playing with you. My thing is get rid of them. Don't play with your life because this is a long-term relationship that you're trying to deal with. And if you're gonna play with it, it's not gonna work. You have to take it very, very, very serious. Like when you're going to get a job. If the boss man find out whoever gonna hire you lying, what's the there's no need to even hire you. You're coming into this thing lying from the start. That means that you are not truthful. A relationship has to be truthful, even if it hurts somebody.
So, when you say even if it hurts somebody, what is your view on receiving, what is it, instant gratification versus allowing things to play out and to be what it should be? So instant gratification would be lying and just like trying to like make it run the meal, versus I'm just gonna be truthful with you even though it does hurt, and this may lead to me feeling like we've wasted time.
Well, that's like when someone asks you, "Do you think your wife would lie to you?" And you say, "No, she has never lied to me. She's always been truthful." But if there's that little doubt in your mind that someone is going to lie to you, how can you possibly trust them? You know, if someone's going to lie to you, how you going to build a future with someone that does that? My thing is, if they start off lying, get rid of them. They don't
Mm,
need them. They don't. They're not going to fit into the mold that you are trying to do. They don't want to be married because they're already lying. My thing is, if you're not truthful in a relationship and you're trying to be deceitful, get rid of them. Don't waste your time on it.
period. All right. So, because they aren't being truthful, this is another question. How do you handle ex partners or past baggage in new relationships? Because, like you were saying earlier, like you deal with these people that are lying to you or that have ill intentions. How do you move into a new relationship while getting to know someone without putting that baggage on them?
Well, because that has happened to you, that baggage is going to always be with you. You know, if someone lied to you and deceived you in the past, you're going to look for those type of things in your new partner. You're going to look for them because it's like, if she lies, I'm through, I'm out. You know, and what happens is your tolerance is very low when you go into those type of relationships, or when you are already been deceived, and then you see someone lying, doing the same thing your other partner has done. It's it's not going to work. It's going to make it harder. The best thing to do is to tell the truth and deal with the consequences. It's easy if you tell the truth. That way, if someone asks you what you said, you ain't got to think about it. You tell the truth like you always tell the truth, and you can move forward. But if you lie, you got to sit there and tell another lie to cover that one. And I have gotten into situations like that where individuals say one thing and you find out later that they lied, and then they'll be laughing about it. It's funny. It wasn't funny to me. It wasn't a joke. It was like, I hate you. Because once someone lied to you and deceive you in that way, the deception that happened to me was, a young lady told me once that you don't have to worry about me getting pregnant. I had a hysterectomy, and she was in nursing school, so I assumed she knew what she was talking about. But when she got pregnant, I asked her what happened. She says, "I said, you told me you had a hysterectomy." She says, "You didn't believe that, did you?" And she laughed. I hated her. And even though she was carrying my child, I hated her. I married her. First chance I could get out of that marriage, I did, because I didn't trust her. Matter of fact, I didn't even like her after that. Because you don't understand, most people don't, young people don't understand that people have goals. And my thing was, I didn't think that someone would be in college trying to get pregnant to get a man. No one told me that. I didn't have no idea people would do that. And when it happened to me, I was devastated. Even though I married a young lady, and but the relationship did not last.
So, what advice would you give women who are having the flip side happen, where a man is trying to trap her?
Get rid of him. I mean, if he can't be truthful about it, because you know, uh, getting pregnant, having children, it's not something you just fly by night thing. It's something that goes on for a life, your whole life. That individual going to be with you. That child is going to be with you the rest of your life. And so you want to have good intentions so you can have good vibes. I mean, if you have a child and you really wasn't ready for it, it's gonna cause all kind of problems in your life. Your life really just stopped. Your life now has become the child's life. And whoever that individual that trapped you in that, they're going to have to deal with the wrath that you're going to put on them, because you wasn't ready. You're going to be angry. You might not. You might try to get over it and not let it uh, destroy the relationship, but that carries a lot of baggage. You have a child by somebody you really didn't want to have a child by, especially if he tells you, well, you were doing something like safe sex and they put a hole in the rubber or some mess. That's just ridiculous. I wouldn't even get involved with somebody like that. And even with women that act like that, get rid of them. My thing is, if you're truthful, and you're always going to be truthful, because if you start telling lies 10 years down the road, whoever that man is with you, he gonna remember that lie you told, and you'll never have the credibility that you would have had you told the truth.
And you'll have to live with that.
That's right. That's right. And some people are very evil, and so you just have to be so careful out there now. It's not like it was years ago. Everybody was honorable. Ain't nobody honorable now. Not very few. Very, very few of them are honorable people. They all want to have it their way at this time, and it's like everybody's in a hurry to get things done. But relationships are built on time. You can't just jump into one and think it's going to be all right, because you have to withstand the test of time. Relationships takes time to build. It's like a baby. It takes 9 months to grow a baby. To have a baby, it takes 9 months. You just can't do one overnight. That's give the body a chance to adapt to the baby, and the mother to adapt to the baby, and stuff like that. All those things have to take place. And relationships, they should take time too. It should take time to build relationships. It's just like if you want to build wealth, you can't build long-term wealth overnight. it takes a long haul. It takes a lot of time to do that. It's all good. It just takes a while. It takes a while to build relationships. Even with your children, it takes time to build relationships. And you already related to them. Can you imagine somebody out there you don't know, you never met, and you dating them and you don't know nothing about them? My thing is, if you're dating somebody you don't know anything about them, do your research. Go online. Go on their Facebook. Go talk to their mama, their sister, their brother. Go get with the family. Because somebody gonna tell the truth on that person. And you want that done up front. You don't want them to say, well, JoJo talking to Miss, what's her name down the street. You want to know all that up front so you don't get all involved with this individual and they got all that mess going on. Because most times when
Well,
people are not good, they carry it on. They don't just stop. Talk to them.
what does intentional dating mean to you?
That means you are dating for one intention. I want to see if this woman is wife material. That's what you want to do. And the reason I told you that to date with intention is because I did that. I remember when I was looking for somebody, and so I met this young lady. She was kind of like she worked with me, and so I went to. She said her birthday had came, so I decided I would do something for her that would be different, that would really let me know where she was coming from. And I never dated her. I never taken her out. I haven't done anything with her except I did stop by her house one day. She said she was having a birthday and I was interested in her, so I stopped by. While I was at her house, her mother talked so rude to her. She was calling her all kind of names and stuff. And so I'm like, wow, there's got to be something to that. This woman knows I'm over here to see her daughter, and she's talking to her like that. Just it was kind of like disrespectful to me. But what I did to find out what her intentions were, I went to Circuit City and I bought a television for her just to see how she was going to respond to that. And it was an expensive television because I wanted to know how she was going to take that I did that. So after I left, took the television to her house, set it up, told her happy birthday. Never touched her, never kissed her, never held her hand. Did nothing, just bought the television for her. It's your birthday. I want you to have something. And so a couple of weeks passed, and so finally she showed up at my house. And what she said to me was this. She said, I can have sex with you, but I don't want to kiss you. And so I sat in the living room with her and talked to her for about 45 to 50 minutes. And then I said, well, I got to go to work tomorrow. I'll see you later. And I walked her to the door because the way she came at me, I knew she wasn't the one. So that wasn't it. And she had a cane with some dignity, you know, instead of coming at me like that. It might have worked, but I didn't see it working for two reasons. Number one, her mother didn't respect her. So that was a problem there. I didn't know why her mother didn't respect her. And the fact that instead of her coming over and saying, just come over to talk, she came over and tried to barter with me. We could have sex, but I don't want to kiss you. So you want to pay for the television with sex. And I said, no, I didn't want to deal with it. After that, that let me know who she was.
So that gives me a question. What are your thoughts? Because that sounds like a transactional relationship that she was trying to start because you just bought it for her just because you wanted to see how she would respond to it. So that makes
Yeah.
me think of, okay, a lot of women are very transactional. If I do this, then I can get that from him. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that if you're really trying to build a relationship, you shouldn't be trying to get anything. There shouldn't be anything in it to get. It's like, I want to make you happy, whatever it takes to, I want to work with you. What are you doing? What do you like to do? Let's get into those type of things instead of trying to do a border thing. I don't want to border with you where you do something, I do something. That's not the way to do a relationship. That's dead end. Because right now you're looking for money. You're looking for something monetary, and that's a problem. You know, happiness ain't gonna have nothing to do with money. You have all the money in the world and be miserable. So the thing about it is to try to find someone that really meets the goals that you have set for yourself, and that they must have goals, not a
Mhm.
transactional relationship. It's not. I mean, if you're out just to have sex, that's a whole different thing. You know, you can discuss that. Well, I like you. Let's just have sex. Put it up on the table and let it be. And if she agrees with you, then you might have some good sex for a while. Good, no problem. Till we both get tired of each other. But if you're out for a relationship that's gonna last, I don't think it'll be with sex. It's not gonna make you stay with someone.
Okay, so as a man, what qualities do you think are important in a partner? Like, what would men be looking for in a partner?
Well, I don't know what other men be looking for in a partner, but I know what I would be looking for. I did not want to be involved with a young lady who did not think enough of herself to go to school and to go to college and do something for herself. Because I mean, if she didn't do that for herself, how can I trust my children being educated by her? I got a problem with that because now here it is, she's not educated. Most women who are not educated tend to have children that are not educated as well. So I was basically looking for someone who had put enough effort in themselves to become educated, enough to be able to help educate children, and one who has self-esteem. And I did notice this about certain people. If you meet people who are not on the same level as you, they tend to use that as a reason you're talking down to me, or you're doing this to me. No, it ain't about that. It's just you're not educated enough to know what I'm talking about. So that's not my fault. And so when you catch people like that relationship can be very hard because they're already feeling inferior to you. And so the relationship is not yoked, it's not equally yoked. So you want to get somebody that's the same ballpark as you, someone who has goals and aspirations and the same thing as you. I want a house. I want to be able to live without working like a dog all my life. And you have to have goals. If you meet a man without goals, leave him alone. Because if you ain't, by the time you out here 18, 19 years old, if you don't have a goal, that automatically shows me that you're not really trying to do anything. You're either gonna live with your mama, or you're gonna find some woman to live with, which is a problem. But independent, I like independent women. I don't like a woman who is always gonna be needing me. Don't be too needy. You got to have that where you got your own things. So I can feel good about that. But if everything that she does is dependent on me, that's a problem. Because I'm
Here's a question. When it comes to women who need you, would you prefer a woman that is not listening to you or respecting you because she doesn't need you? Or would you prefer a woman who needs your leadership and your guidance and needs you to be the head of the household, the covering of the household?
that's two different things. Being head of the household is naturally what me and John do. But I mean, every woman needs a man. You need companionship. I mean, needy, unnecessary needs that are really not necessary. I do want to be involved in all the aspects of the house, the children, things like that, of course. But the needy part I'm talking about is some people are needy, and you know how needy people are. Needy people are
I'm
like,
not sure. My audience may not know what you mean.
okay, well, let me see how I can put this. Uh,
Like they need
now,
attention from you.
independent people are entirely different. I mean, has no nothing, has no money. Everything is me, 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 me. She needs me for everything. She's not educated. Just have a baby and but ain't got no job. So it's like I'm in this by myself. You know, and
So
I
you
wouldn't
want
want
a
a
woman
relationship.
who will cover the household with you.
Yeah, yeah, have something to add to the bring to the table other than her sex and her person. I mean, an uneducated woman can't truly educate children. She really can't do much of anything. I mean, I have met people like that where you'd be like, the best thing you can do with them is stay away from them. They want something, but they're not willing to give anything.
It sounds like more so unmotivated people rather than uneducated people, because there's a way that you can still educate even though you may not have an education. For instance, somebody can teach you how to make a cake. So then you can have a basketball field of children who know how to bake and they have a bakery. But when you don't have motivation to do anything, that's when you end up with somebody that's just laying in the house, not doing anything. Or it could be hormonal imbalances and things like that. So I wouldn't
So
say
that's
just uneducated.
right. There's a lot. There is a lot because hormonal imbalances and all that type of stuff is a lot to deal with. But when you meet people like that and you're not willing to put in the time to get them, catch them up to where they need to be, you need to leave them alone because it's going to be a problem. You know, you can meet some people and you can say, no, that's a problem there, and you don't want to invest the time because sometimes you have to come from your mama's house prepared to do certain things. You know, at home you get prepared to get out into the world, and if you don't have that preparation, you're gonna always have a problem with your relationships. Some people don't know how to talk to people. You know, they want to say stuff that yeah, stuff that's derogatory. You know, just call you out your name, say anything to you, and what you want me to do about that? Just don't have the real communication skills. Really into a relationship to belittle you and put you down. When you catch people doing that to you, just get away from them. It sounds more abusive to me than anything else. But there are abusive people, and they do it in certain ways. You might not see the full picture of it right then, but if they start saying little nasty things to you, you know, that can escalate once you get deep into the relationship. Men generally don't do that to you when they're trying to get you. When they're trying to, as long as the chase is going on, the chase. Now, when the chase ends, sometimes the relationship ends because they're just in it for the chase. They're not in it for long-term relationship. So you can tell that about the way they spend time, the way they call you, when they talk to you, what they say, what they do, and how they do it. You know, you can talk to a person in a way in which you can make them feel belittled, and you can talk to a person in a way in which you can uplift them. You know, if you're truly uplifting that person, then yes, that relationship might work. But if you're constantly belittling them, putting them down, saying things that are not, you know, kosher, then yeah, you might that relationship is not gonna work. Unless that young lady is totally dependent on you, and you don't want a relationship like that.
So she has to have her own.
Well, yeah, most people should have their own. I mean, I remember you was saying something to me about you could have done what you did without having a degree. And I wanted to say, baby, it makes a big difference when you got a piece of paper and you are marketable. Don't have nothing and want to get you a good man that's making good money, doing good things. It's hard to get a good man when you ain't got nothing, no education, no degree. When you got a degree, you can negotiate some things. Because, you know, one thing a man don't want to do is leave a woman and she do just as good without him. Most men will try to keep you. But if you don't have those things to add to the table, it's easy for him to just get up and say, well, you know, you ain't got nothing, I'm going to leave you.
So
Being
there's
a
this
man.
ongoing debate on the internet where it's like men want to know, what do you bring to the table? They're asking these women because they want to go 50-50 with these ladies. They don't want to be provider men's. They don't want to be masculine men. And it's kind of turning into, I forgot what they call it, drizzle, where they want a woman to take care of them. They want a woman who will pay for them to do things and things like that. Because they're like, oh, you should be lucky because you're with me. And my only argument is that when a man is attached to a woman, he is instantly elevated in society as being a top tier man because he is seen as the head of a household. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I've known a lot of men that do that. They go from woman to woman and they have nothing of their own. They're always living with her. She got driving somewhere. He driving her car. He doing things for her with her vehicles or her house. He living in her house. Uh, he might as well go on back home to his mama because he's not going to be any good to anyone. And his children is going to watch him, and his boys are going to do the same thing he's doing. And so that's not productive at all. Having a mother having a man like that around her daughter will tell her that she need to get a man she can control, like her mama did. I was a
That's what
living
I'm
mayor
saying.
one day. Yeah, and the young lady came out and I gave her. Her mom had about 5 checks, and so she says she was about 14, 15 years old. As soon as I get old enough, I'm gonna get me some checks too. And so I said, well, that might not be a good idea, but you know. So about 9 months later, I came out there. She was pregnant, about to have a baby, talking about I'm gonna get me a check, simply because she was watching her mother. And so if you catch a young lady her mother has a man living on her, that young lady is gonna get her a man that's gonna live on her too, because she don't know anything else. That's her role model.
Mm. What is some dating advice you wish you were given before dating or meeting women?
Well, I think that when you go on that first date, you need some cards, cue cards. What they call them, cue cards, those little index cards that you use to clue you on, clue cards or whatever they call them. The little cards you can pull them out and say, okay, ask them the questions and see what they say, and that's how I would do it. Number one, have you ever been pregnant? All these good questions I want to know because you'd be surprised how much information you can get. But a lot of us don't do that simply because we're afraid we're gonna miss out on something. I don't want to do that to her because she might not go out with me no more, this, that, and the other, which is true. That is true. But it also will help you to be able to weed out all the ones that shouldn't be there to start with. Because
Yep.
you're intentional. You're not dating for sex. You're dating for a long-term relationship. If you're dating for sex, you don't need no cars, you don't need nothing. All you need to do is show up.
And that's what I was saying was the easy part earlier when you were saying you can just leave when you've gone through things and it's just kind of like you can decipher between is this person serious or are they just playing, and you being able to take that baggage and not necessarily put it on the other person, but to go through your cue cards in your mind of have I seen this pattern before, and if this person's displaying that, then it's easy to be like, "Oh, well, I'm gone. I'm not doing this."
That's right. Don't wait. The young lady once. And instead of when we get there to the dinner, and she said, I'm gonna order the highest thing on the menu. I just sat there and looked at her, and so I automatically knew that okay, get what you want. And so she did. She got what she wanted. And at the end of the dinner, I took her home. And as soon as her 2 feet got out of my car and hit the ground, I was didn't even need to, didn't want to, didn't, don't want no number, don't care. I know that when she acts like that at dinner, I knew that I was not dating her again. Eat all you want, because I will not see you again.
What is your advice on long-term relationships?
Truth. The truth is everything. Try to be grounded in something, godly based, some type of something going on. You got to have something. And the truth is the basis for all relationships. I don't care what you got. If you're lying and cheating and doing all that, if you lying turns into cheating. And all that, it's just, if you get into a relationship with someone start lying to you and they can't be truthful with you, they can't tell you the truth up front, and don't deal with them. Don't deal with them. They phone ring and you say, "Hey, let me see your phone. Let me see who that is." If they can't just give it to you openly, cut them loose. It's a waste of time. You don't have that time to waste. When you're young, you think you do, but you really don't.
Okay, so here's another question, and it alludes to what you were talking about earlier. So, if a guy is dating a woman or looking for a woman, is it important for a woman to let her know how driven she is or about her degrees or her job? This is more so for a man that wants to provide for his woman. Is that
Yeah,
important?
Yeah. See, a man, when a woman tells a man, I took the time to get my master's. I took the time to learn this skill. I want to bring all this to the table, because, the things that she learned is going to help the relationship one way or another. And I think that she should tell him that because he needs to know the type of person he's dealing with. You need to know that let him know that she's not lazy, she's not conniving, and she's willing to follow rules and regulations to get these degrees. That's very important in a relationship. She sticks to
I have
things.
I have a rebuttal. I don't think it's important, especially in the beginning of dating, for you to be like, hey, I got this, I got that. Because I feel like it's more so women trying to see if a man can provide for her, kind of like challenging him to be like, I got this, that, and the third. What do you have? Versus,
I
I
got
just
some.
want to enjoy
I
my
have a,
time getting to know you. I'm like trying to showcase my degrees and things. And I also find it to be quite interesting because a lot of women will utilize their degrees to disagree with the man and the rules that he has set in the household. Well, this, according to my degree, you're wrong, this, that, and the third. What are your thoughts on that?
transparency. You need to know what she's done. Her degrees. You
So
need to know that because that's a part of transparency. You need to know that because sometimes people will act a certain way, and then if you know what they're doing with their life, it will explain why they are that way. Some people are driven, and you say, "Why is she so driven?" And you ask them what they do for a living, this type of thing, and all that's important. The degrees and whatever she's doing, she might want to rock climb, jump out of airplanes, whatever she's doing, you need to be transparent with that because that's going to determine how the relationship is going. If she's outgoing, if she's a homebody, or whatever she might be, um, that is basically what I'm saying. To let all that be out there so you will know what you're dealing with.
thank you. What is one thing you wish more women were aware of during their dating interactions? If you were speaking to the next daughter, let's say you have another daughter that's younger than me, what would you want her to know or that you wish she was aware of during her dating interactions before she goes out in the world?
Men lie, men lie, they lie, and they'll say something because, especially if you get caught up with your feelings. Say you meet somebody and you're overwhelmed about them, you just caught up into that moment, and you will say things that you normally wouldn't say because of the you're caught up into that. It's just like on borderline. Some people can say, "I saw her and man, she was so I just couldn't speak," or something like that. Don't get so uh, don't be so caught up in the moment that you can't tell the truth. Because people, when you ask them sometimes some people will ask you a question and you would have answered them, but the answer will be a lie because you responded too fast. And you should have just taken a moment and thought about what you were going to say and ask that question again. That way you can get into what they're talking about. I have had relationships where people would say one thing and then you say, "Well, I thought you said this." Well, no, that's not true. I really meant this. Always go back to that number one thing. Tell the truth, and you won't have that problem. I
So,
learned that.
what is one thing that, so they need to tell the truth and they're also looking for truthful men?
Right.
That's it.
That's right. It's because that's the backbone of a relationship. You're gonna either stay with that person or leave that person based on what they say and what they do. If they lying to you, it's gonna be hard to really build a foundation. You just playing if you're doing that. If you're out there lying and not being transparent, you're just playing games with somebody's life. That's like a young man will say, well, men have what's this vasectomy. I had a vasectomy. I can't get nobody pregnant. Or, I got a low sperm count. I can't get nobody pregnant. And then you go ahead and trust that person and get pregnant. And you say, well, what happened? Uh, uh, he was playing games. You don't want that to happen to you. You don't, because you can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of children. They're there forever.
So, what do you feel is the hiccup or the disagreements, I guess you could say, when it comes to having children out of wedlock or being lied to and then it results in a child? What do you say or believe, or what is your experience in that? Because I know a
Well,
lot of women believe that it's okay to just have children, but I
well,
have
it's not.
different thoughts.
It's not okay. It's not okay because if you have children out of wedlock, I mean, it's going to be hard on the child. It's going to be hard on the parents. It's going to be hard on everybody. You know, you creating a problem for everybody in your circle when all you got to do is be cool and wait and do it in the appropriate time. You know, a lot of people say, well, that's not his business. You know, but if you're doing that and the people around you, you create problems for them, it is their business. It's their business. It's like I remember one of your questions was talking about if their parents don't agree with the relationship. Then my thing is, if the parents don't agree with the relationship, you need to stop the relationship. Just cut it off because you know that little lust that you got going on, it's gonna pass. Your parents gonna always be with you. And if something do become of that relationship that's positive, your parents are gonna still be with you. You want their support because that is the circle. You know, you got somebody out there that you're trying to get into your little circle. They have to get along with everybody in the circle, or they can't be in the circle. I would not agree with anybody being in a relationship where the mother, the father, or somebody can't get along with the guy or the daughter or the young lady that the guy's dating. If there's that type of problem going on, I think you need to just walk away from that because it's going to be a long term problem. If you can't call your mom and say, come and help me with my baby, or I need a little help with this, because of that man you got, I think you need to not date that man. I'm sorry.
So you would say that it's important for women to have a masculine covering, such as a father or uncle or grandfather, to be able to help guide and to vet the gentleman that she's dating.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. When you go out there on your own and try to attract someone and you are alone, it's hard to really decipher what that individual intentions are. But a guy can pull you to the side and say, "Hey, man, I know you. I saw you. I know what's going on." Men know men. You know, the way you talk to that girl, the way you handle her, the way you do things for her, you know, that will tell him whether or not you attended to her needs, whether you're going to stay around, you just full of it. You always need the men. That's why in relationships, not the American way, but in other countries, the father is always involved, the brothers is always involved in those young ladies' relationships. They don't go out on their own and find somebody or you know, they have to be approved of by the family.
Mhm.
She's not the only one that's going to be in that relationship. Everybody in her circle is going to be in a relationship with that man. So she needs to at least have him to be accepted by everyone. That way, the relationship will last. When you're out there by yourself and something happens, you have no support. It's just you. And that don't last because you know you can't do everything alone. You need. That's why they say it takes a village to raise a child. And it also takes a village to create a strong relationship. You can't get if I can't get along with your mama, I really don't want to be in a relationship with you because your mama is important to you, which makes her important to me.
Okay, speaking about the different cultures, especially not necessarily Western culture like American society, but more so the Eastern societies, I'll say. When it comes to dating and exclusivity, would you say that there is a difference?
Oh yeah, well I think they're the same. I don't see the difference. I think if you're dating someone, You shouldn't date with one person at a time. So exclusively, they're the only person you're dating. So they are exclusive. If you're dating more than one person at a time, that's a problem. I think that's a problem, and I
Really?
disagree with it altogether because I have I dated one person at a time. I've never really wanted to date three or four people because I mean it just didn't seem that important that I need four or five people bringing their baggage to me. Because relationships are hard work. It's not it's easy. Only reason it's easy is everybody must be just you're using everybody and sending them home. You know, you're getting what you want and you're sending them home. Yeah, you can do that. But if you're dating someone, you shouldn't be dating but one person at a time. And especially if you're a young lady, you know, because a man can impregnate 20 women and
Whoa.
all
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right here. Dating is not the horizontal tango, and it is not exclusivity. Dating is I went on this date, I got to know this guy a little bit better, I got to get his understanding of his background. Do I want to spend more time with him? Exclusivity is I think that you might be marriage material. Let's get to know each other better. So I think it's important to date more than one person at a time simply because people like to play games. And as you told me, men lie, men play games. And so to me, I took that as my own opportunity to date multiple people so that I can get to know multiple people. And that helped me understand what I like and what I don't like in individual people, especially when it comes to do I want to spend any more time with you? Before becoming exclusive, before I'm your girlfriend or anything like that.
I agree with you there. I agree with you. But you know, when I was dating, I would date a person, and it might take a week, a month, maybe 2 months before I know whether they are the person or not. But I didn't see a reason for me to go date another person while I'm dating that person, even if it's just one night. Well, I ain't dating nobody, so I'm dating you, and so I let them know. And you know, I just don't see
So it
where.
became exclusive. Okay.
Well, I didn't see why I need to date four or five people because I'm not gonna see four or five people that I like that I want to date. Say I want to go out on Monday with Carolyn, Tuesday with Susan, the weekend with Ann. No, I don't want to do that. That's too much trouble. I think one at a time is the best way to go because are you dating anyone? Yeah, I'm dating you. How long are we gonna date? I don't know till you do something stupid and I stop dating you at that point. When I stop dating, I'll let you know. But no, I would not be dating three or four people just to find out how they are. You know, I just don't think that's kosher. Yeah, I'm old school.
You put me on game. You put me on game. You told me men lie. So that's
I'm
how
old
I
school.
dated in college.
Men
And it
will
worked
lie.
out. I'm
They
in a
will lie
very good
because
relationship.
see when men get to the point where they really like you, they will lie unconsciously, unknowingly. They lied and didn't even know they told a lie. Uh, and she looked so good. She asked me if I had a girlfriend. I had to say no because I just didn't know no better. You know, and that's what
But
I
that would
mean.
have been saved if he never became exclusive.
True, true, but he did lie.
Yeah. Because he probably moved too fast into becoming exclusive.
Right, right. And so I think that relationships, all of them are different, but people are different. You know, and my thing is do what makes whatever you need to do. If you think you need to date three people to find one, because it is a shortage of men out there, you know. So you might need to do that. You know, people are doing things now that I wouldn't have done. You know, at my age, back in the day, we didn't do the things that y'all do now. We didn't do that. When I was coming up, you didn't do that. You dated one person. You know, and if
I
you when
took
you
that
broke up
from the
with
advice that you gave me of
right, when you broke up with
from
that
from
person,
what you told me of how dishonorable men can be. In my mind, it was like, okay, so why do I need to be honorable if my end goal is to get married and I can date you and see if I like you. I don't like you, so I'm gonna just go and do something else and you know.
Well, that's different though. But see, that's like, wait a minute. This is how I'm seeing when you say date more than one. I'm saying you're like you can. I went to breakfast with Joe. I'm gonna go to dinner with Harry, and then maybe I'll go to the movie with Mike. That's a problem, because
How? You might not even hold their hands.
okay, okay. Well, I mean, doing the old school thing, you just didn't do that. But they do that now, and I'm not gonna push it and say it's bad or it's good. I'm gonna say if it's okay, it's okay. But the thing with that
To
is too, though.
me, my understanding of dating is I don't owe you anything and you don't owe me anything because there is no exclusivity. You know that I am dating to find my husband, right?
Right, right.
You know that I
And
am dating to find my husband. You're dating to find your wife. I'm not your wife. I am single until I am married. That's something you told me too. So, in that, because I am single and under the law of man and God, therefore, if I want to create a harmonious home, if I want to have marital bliss, and if I want to be happy, which is my goal of being happy and having happy children that are born under and in my marriage, I need to find the right person.
yeah, so you might have to look because it's not like it was years ago. This is
And I'm
now.
not having an arranged marriage. My parents have not arranged for me to be married to someone. So that's why you have met some gentlemen that did not end up being like you always told me that ain't the one. Or, you might have said it in a more raw tone, but when you met Kevin, you didn't have anything negative to say. Because my understanding is I'm single until married. However, I know that I need to bring this gentleman to my dad before I even become exclusive,
But
before we do anything, because rightfully so, under divine law, the person that is over me, the masculine man that's over me, is my dad. So I need to bring this gentleman who wants to court me, who wants to become exclusive with me. I need to bring him forward to my father. He needs to meet my dad. And if
and
my
that's
dad
true.
says no, I need to go about my business, even though I may like him. And so,
Well,
in that, if you are dating multiple people at once, you get to know them quicker. You get to know people quicker because women do have a biological clock of, babies being born and things like that. And it's just easier to say, that's the one, that's not the one. Who do I want to bring to my father? Because
with
it
the
is not an arranged marriage. You're not bringing me to someone or someone bringing their son to us.
I listened to you all's conversation when you was telling me you was talking to him and stuff like that, and I listened to what you said and what he was telling you and what y'all was planning. And so, with that said, even though the relationship was on the phone, you was talking to him, I understood what was going on, and I knew what your end goal was. So, we have talked over the years. And so when you told me that, and you told me the type of person he was, and you said you knew him in school, and you had a lot of things that was already set. So when you told me he was coming and this, I was already prepared because number one, your mother was still, she was talking to me about it. She was in my ear. She was letting me know what was going on. You were not there by yourself. You know, we was we was all listening to what was going on with you. And when she was telling me things that you were saying that y'all was planning to do and this, that, and other, I saw what it all fell together. And when he came and I met him and I had a conversation with him, and from what I heard, I thought he was truthful in what he was saying. And so I really went with that. Especially when you all was talking about y'all was gonna stay together a whole year, not have any sex. I thought that was really heavy. That was heavy. So I said, wow, if they can make it through that, I would be happy. And you all did. And so I thought that was ultimate to do that. And that's what they usually do in the old school back in the day back when when they were doing arranged marriages and stuff. You would be in the bridal chamber or something for a year, and then after the end of the year, you got married and stuff like that, and that was biblical. So I understood what that was about, and I said, well, if you can make it through that, you would probably have a stronger relationship because you during that time, there's some things that's going on in there when you're living with someone for a year and not having sex, and you're trying to get to know that person. I thought that was a good way to do it. So I think y'all did a good thing. I'm proud of it. Very good.
This brought up another thing when you say the truth, to be truthful, and you said that he seemed like a truthful person, and in my mind, I'm like, sometimes he's so truthful it hurts. And what would be your advice when it comes to women being able to listen, and not through the lens of trauma, but or the lens of them wanting men to be feminine? Because you know how some women can sugarcoat things and make it seem nice and sweet. But even when you gave me advice growing up about gentlemen, it was just very raw. It was very candid. It was not coddled at all. So what would your advice be when it comes to women being able to listen to men, be it their dad, their father, their grandfather, their uncle, or even in marriage, their husbands, of being able to listen and to hear what they are saying is really out of love, even if it may not be as sweet as something their friend may say?
Well, I think that most young ladies do what their mother do. If the mother is not listening to the father at the house, the little girl ain't gonna listen to her boyfriend. She gonna act just like her mother until she learns better. She's gonna want to have the last word and all of that. But see, that creates other problems. That's saying that, you know, I'm so insecure that I cannot let you have the last word. You know, in a relationship, you have to be able to do that. And if you are not listening, you're gonna miss a lot. You're gonna miss a lot, and it's gonna cause all kind of problems because you don't have the time. And sometimes you have to learn to listen. Listening is a skill, and you notice I don't have it very well. That skill of listening. Sometimes I talk when other people are talking, and I'm learning to give them the floor when they have it and be able to yield, be able to yield. And so some young ladies don't have that ability. So it's going to be hard for them to have someone unless they get somebody that they can just talk down to and say anything to. Then, yeah, he's so happy to be with her, he's going to let her take the lead, which is okay. But in the long haul, you got to be, it's got to be a two-way street because she might be having something to say that's very important, and he might be having something to say that's very important that need to be listened to. So you have to listen to one another at that point. Because if you don't listen, your relationship is gonna suffer. And usually people that don't listen, they either was doing something where they had to always be in charge, and they're so used to being in charge that it's so hard for them to really just yield because they have always been in charge. And so that happens with me. I kind of, as a child, I had to take charge and do things, and I have not relinquished that being in charge. I'm still want to be in charge of all things because I feel like if I don't get it, if I don't do it, it won't get done. So I'm working on that.
Perfect. Is there any other things that you would like to mention to ladies who are interested in dating and being seen and chosen by their husbands?
Usually, you have to plan things. I think that if you're truly looking for a husband, you need to write down all the things you want. That way, you won't forget nothing. When you go to talk to these guys, I mean, since you're intentionally doing this, you might as well have your cue cards with you and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna see if you check off all the boxes and work with that, and if it works out, you can laugh about it later and have some fun with it. But I think that you need to have your cue card there so you don't miss things because this is more important than college. This is more important than buying a house or getting rich. This is more important than anything. This is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And so, Spend time trying to find them out, or spend time trying to understand them. And you ain't gonna do that by just spending an evening with them. You're gonna do that by questioning and answer, and then by telling them, asking them to do things for you, and see how they respond to it. Birthday, see what he do on my birthday. Is he gonna give me anything? Is he gonna do that? Some people won't give you anything, but that don't mean they don't care about you. You know, it means something else. Either I don't have funds. Everybody I know love to give things because people like that feeling they get when they give something. And when you get someone that don't want to give anything, there's more to it than that. Not that they just don't want to give it. It might be that they just don't have it.
And if he doesn't have it, he shouldn't be dating for marriage.
I don't know now. I don't know. I think that
I mean, if he can't buy me something for my birthday, how is he going to buy anything for children that we're going to have? How is he going to buy a house? And then all that stuff is on the woman. But when a woman has a baby, she needs to rest. There is no, let me go back to work. And if she has to, that means she don't have a man. She has a baby son at home who's her man that she's taking care of too. So no, you don't need to be dating unless he can buy something for a gift or something.
he can make something. Time is more important than money sometimes. Go wash your car. Go change your oil. Go rotate your tires. Go put some new tires
That's
on.
not going to feed children unless he has a garden.
That's money. It takes money to buy tires and rotate them. You know. But you're right. You got to have the money. Without the money, you might have to wait to have the children. I don't know. Depends on.
And I feel like that's why never mind, I'm not going to go there. But yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, you see,
it's,
they have parents that are stealing the milk for the baby, the formula for the baby at Walmart because the price went up.
there are parents that are stealing baby milk. That's what you just said.
Yes, yes. At
What?
least that's what I
What?
found out.
What,
So
they,
it's
what
just
if they
kind of
go
like
to
if,
jail? They're not even good for the baby if they go to jail. It's better for them to stand out there and ask somebody to buy some milk for them than for them to
but
go to
that's what I'm
jail.
saying. If a woman or a man is standing outside asking for money, what does that say about the legacy that he is creating for his children? If he can't afford it. And that's
Yeah,
one of the things you said intentionally. Like, what
you
kind of
better.
lifestyle do you want? What are your values? What are your goals?
You,
And if you don't have that in line before you start dating for marriage, where are you going? Like you said, the woman should have a degree. Okay, she has a degree. Does the man have a job? And
he
when
has
you're looking at that, like, what kind of life do you want? Do I want a man that's going to ask me for money because he doesn't have it? Or that's going to require me to go to work rather than me being able to stay home and take care of the children and take care of him. Because if I have a job and I have a boss, I have to ask my boss for time off before I can take care of my husband. And that's not in divine order.
okay.
So if
I
he don't
agree,
have no money to buy a birthday gift, he not the one.
but he's not married. He's not
Yeah,
ready to be married because he really needs to can't
exactly.
afford it. He need to go save
Like
up
you
a couple
said, he
thousand.
should stay at his mama's house.
Yeah, he probably could. And then if he find a young lady who want to stay there at his mama house with him until they get it together, they can do that too. Everybody has different goals, Toria. You have good. Your goals are what they are. You spend a lot of time to get where you are. To go to college and spend all that money and all of this and that and other. And you can demand things that you want because you've already paved the way for yourself. You're doing good. Now, the people that don't have that, don't have those something to fall back on if something happened to their spouse, they're gonna have a problem. But God is good.
Yeah. Did you pursue mom?
Well, she had a degree. She was very focused on what she wanted to do, and she kept an excellent house, very clean. I love that. You know, she just filled in all the blanks, and she was easy to talk to. She was not combative. She was not confrontational. She didn't challenge me every time I turned around. And She did listen. She know how to listen, and she knows how to be quiet, when to be quiet. She don't constantly be. She don't nag me. She give me a break. So I really can appreciate that. Here lately, she's gotten to the point where she do speak a little bit more than she did when we first met, and I understand that comes with the territory. Now she is, so at one point it was my house. Now, it's Victoria's house. I just live in it.
Oh me.
So
Okay,
she's
thank
she's
you.
still we are real compatible. That's why we're still together. And maybe it's because at some point I was more mature when I met your mother than I was with everybody else, and she never did try to do it. All my previous relationships, the young ladies were all so into trying to keep me through lies and deception. That's why I'm not with them. All of them did something to lie to me that was really devastating to our relationship. Even though I might have went ahead and married them, I knew it wasn't gonna last because I hated them.
So
I don't suggest
how many times have you been married?
three,
And how many children do you have?
six.
And mom is the only one that you
I
have
had
two
two
with,
kids.
right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Lies and deception. Ugh. You
I
could
know
write a
about the lies
novel.
and the deception. That's why I told you all those lies. They were lying to me, and I thought for a long time it was me. It was my charismatic approach to them that was really, they liked that, but it wasn't about none of that. It was more or less about, they saw me with a car, they saw me with money, they saw me with things, and they wanted to be a part of that. And instead of just being truthful, they lied. When they lied, I mean, usually the lie usually resulted in a pregnancy or something bad or something big. It was big. Pregnancy is a big thing, but they just saw it as, well, I just had this baby. It was more like, how you do that? I didn't know people did that. I found out the hard way. But see, the reason I got deceived like that was because through high school, I was working most of the time. I didn't go out on a lot of dates. I had a girlfriend, one girlfriend. I think I had one girlfriend all through high school. Even all the way up till I went in the army, I had one girlfriend. So I didn't get a chance to meet a lot of girls to know how they thought, what they, how they interacted with people and the things they said and did. So my analytical skills when it come to uh, dating was all messed up. It was more or less visual. It wasn't factual or material. It was more visual. And it should have been something else because in a way I didn't have, my dad didn't ever tell me, like I told, don't go out here and have sex with these girls without protecting yourself because you'll never know what they got going on. They might be trying to trick you or do something to you. So I told him that. And so he was able to take what I was saying and not have children until he got married, which was a good thing. I didn't have that fatherly figure in my life to tell me that. If I did, I wouldn't have had as many marriages as I did. So, father is important. And my father didn't tell me that, even though he was there with me. But I don't regret the mistakes I made. I learned from each and every one of them.
You could write a book.
Oh man, it'll be a bad one too. It would be like wow, because there are things that I have had to do and things I've done that people say, wow, God is good. Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate, the input that you gave me. I've learned something from you, and I hope your audience will learn something from this video. Have a
All
good
right, bye,
day.
y'all.
And tell your husband I said thank you for allowing you to spend some time with me.
I
Don't
will.
forget to tell him. Okay, thank
I
you so
will.
much.
Bye,
Love you.
Dad.
All right.
Now, I hope these tips and tricks and things that he said were helpful to you, especially when it comes to dating for marriage, intentional dating, and finding yourself being able to be seen and chosen by your future husband, your true king. I love you.